All right, welcome you to this edition of In the Conference Room with Mark S. Lee. I want you to sit back and relax, enjoy the conversation as we do each and every single week with business leaders and entrepreneurs from across the great city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, as well as across the country. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I know we're making that transition slowly into that next season. I know it's technically fall, but slowly the weather started to change as well. And by the way, early on, still want to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. I know it's early, but I know people are out there preparing. All right, my name is Mark S. Lee. I'm your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome to the conference room today Ms. Tracey Ilene, and she's an entrepreneur and has launched a very powerful app that we're going to talk about in a moment and talk about her transition from the corporate space as well into becoming an entrepreneur. Tracey, good morning. Thank you for joining me in the conference room.
Thank you so much, Mark. Good morning. Thank you for having me in the conference room. I look forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. You have an impressive background. I know you pivoted from a corporate career. I believe you're at General Motors, I believe. Is that right? For quite a
Yes,
while. And you made the
yes,
transition from General Motors to entrepreneurship. Let's start right there. You talk about your corporate career, who you are, and then your transition to becoming an entrepreneur.
yes. Once again, thank you for having me. My
Sure.
corporate career goes back to the wireless industry, as we like to call it, the telecom, that traditional word. But I was in the telecom space for 25 years on the wireless side of the house in various positions, all the way up to leadership. Then I always had this dream to work for General Motors and have this dream job to work for General Motors as well as a district manager. I started working for General Motors in 2021 and they relocated me to Ohio and Maryland because I ended up getting a promotion. Well, I left GM last year after going through a downsize with them. Just broke my heart because I thought I was going to retire there, okay? But while I was working at General Motors, and prior to me working at General Motors, I really should say, I created a mobile app, Heavenly Connects, and another app, which is the companion app of Heavenly Connects, Heavenly Resources. So I continue to work evening weekends on the app and hold my corporate career. But of course, after being downsized, I just jumped right on to be an entrepreneur. But I still had the
So,
desire to be a corporate girl. Don't get me wrong. But it's such a challenging market right now to get back
yeah.
into corporate. So I'm going to continue on with my entrepreneur career for now.
So let's unpack that for a second. So you made the transition, you were downsized out, it sounds like. You were not focusing on the past. Um, but talk about that transition because a lot of people watching and a lot of people have had similar stories and backgrounds. They might be going through that right now. What were your emotions? I know you said you loved it, but talk about your emotions as you were transitioning into becoming an entrepreneur. What were you feeling at that point in time?
At that point in time, I have to be transparent. I wasn't feeling good
Mhm.
because I really wanted to have both worlds, work in corporate and be that entrepreneur because I'm an empty nester. Look, I don't have a dog, cat, or a frog, or a goldfish, or a man, right? That's what I like to say. So I have enough time to manage both. And I have exceptional organization. I have planning and executing ideas and thoughts and plans, right? So I really thought that the girl could just do it all, which I still can. But the feelings at that point was not good. But you know what? I had to get into that girl boss mood and that attitude and jump right on in to be an entrepreneur. But keep in mind that when individuals are trying to go into being an entrepreneur, you just can't jump right into it really. You have to make sure you have substantial amount of savings saved up because I just be transparent once again. I've been living off my savings for 15 months. Normally, they say you have to have 6 months, right? Of savings to pay your mortgage or what have you. But you have to make sure that you're financially prepared to jump into the entrepreneur space. And then, of course, do all your history. Your research on what it takes to be an entrepreneur. You have to secure your social sites, your LLC, your DUNS number. I can go on and on about getting set up as an entrepreneur. It's not as easy as you think. It is not for the weak.
Understood. And then you segue, and then you landed into your current business, Heavenly Connects. Talk about Heavenly Connects. Where did you get the idea? Exactly what is it?
Okay, Heavenly Connects is a mobile application. It's currently on iOS and it's on Android. Also, the companion app is Heavenly Resources. The idea came from my sister passed away unexpectedly October the 20th, 2017, the day before my birthday. And prior to that, I had my niece living with me. And in 2018, my niece came to me and she said, Auntie, do you remember my mom's voice? I said, Sure, I remember your mom's voice. And then in 2019, my sister came to me in spirit and she told me to create a mobile app. And basically, with Heavenly Connects, it allows you to preserve your family memories and create your own legacy. It has a social feature, and it also, the companion app is Heavenly Resources that allows businesses to advertise within the app. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit on Heavenly Connects features. Heavenly Connects allows you to upload your loved ones who have transitioned, their voice messages, their text messages, their voice notes, all their photos and videos and memories about their lives. And then the legacy part of the app, you can start uploading your information for yourself as opposed to storing the memories in your actual phone. And then the social feature allows you to connect with others who are grieving as well. And then, of course, Heavenly Resources is for businesses to advertise like floors, cemetery, funeral homes, life insurance agents can advertise in the Heavenly Resources. And Heavenly, if you're a subscriber, Heavenly Resources and Heavenly Connects is integrated into one app. If you're a business that want to advertise, then you would download Heavenly Resources. And both apps are on iOS and on, which is Apple and Android.
So, what I'm hearing is you can preserve your loved one's memory by storing voices and pictures and things like that. But I'm also hearing that you have a support group for other people that can connect with people who might be going through something similar experience, the grieving process, for example. That's an awesome idea. And it's my understanding too, you worked with in terms of development of this app in your business. And a lot of people might be curious. We hear a lot about working with different countries. Is my understanding you work with folks in India as well to make this happen. Talk about that process and what was that experience like?
It was a very expensive experience because the app is very robust and because it is actually two apps and you wanted to have it to be able to be on, get approved to go on iOS, which is Apple, and Android. So the concept and the content is what I created. I ended up doing some research for about a year. So that took me into 2020. And I hired someone, and the individual said he couldn't do it. It was a local person. So then I told him, since you can't do it, let me continue on. So that was a $1,200 loss. But you know what? That's what happens in business. So then in 2020, 2021, I just said, you know what? Let me revisit it again. So then I ended up hiring a coder company that does it out of India. And we went through my ideas and then they did all the back end of it. And not only do you create an app, you have to have a storage company somewhere to store your app as well. So mine is stored on HostGator. And then they do all the coding. And then also I had to create a logo. I had to create the colors, all the fonts, and I work with the coder to help me create everything. And most importantly, I went through the process. I hired an intellectual property attorney to protect my my intellectual property, which my logo, my slogan, and name has been copywritten and copyrighted.
So to a lot of you tuning in and checking us out, this conversation, you hear what she's saying. It's, becoming an entrepreneur does require a lot of work, requires resources to make things happen. She's talking about how engaged she's been in the entire process. And I'm glad that you're sharing that story because a lot of times people think they have an idea. They come up with an idea and they think they
Yeah.
can snap their fingers, and guess what? It's already there. Um, that's an incredible story that you're sharing. And it's my understanding as well, you've been recognized by many organizations here in the US and other countries, not just with Heaven Connects, but your other endeavors like public speaking associated with dealing with trauma. Tell me about that.
Well, that is really the backstory of Heavenly Connects because my sister passing away is one of my traumas. I do have another adventure that I collaborated and joined it together with Heavenly Connects and Heavenly Resources. Excuse me, the name of it is
Mhm.
Release Pain to Power. I coach women to release their pain caused by hardship and trauma. And with Release Pain to Power is based on my life journey. I actually have 14 traumas, and one of the trauma is my sister passing because my sister was like my daughter to me because I helped raise my siblings because my parents were such a they were so young. So I started helping with my siblings when I was 12 years old. So those are my one that's one of my traumas from being sexually abused, from being homeless, from being shot, a long-term marriage of 21 years. We were together a total of 26 years, being in a fire as well, and losing a lot of loved ones, and not having that relationship with my mother because my mom was such a young mom, and not knowing who my biological father. So I created a program. The name of it is Release Pain to Power, but also it's an e-course called Breakthrough Healing, where I coach women private sessions, group sessions, doing webinars as well, and then also, I will talk about Heavenly Connects and Heavenly Resources with Release Pain to Power.
Wow, that is impressive. And so, first of all, congratulations for giving back and the engagement, and certainly sharing your personal experience. And I'm sure that's tough to go through the experience, but you're helping other people to deal with their situations as well. So, congratulations in that space. Uh, let's go back to the business from a business perspective. What is your ultimate goal with your business, and whom are you trying to reach in terms of the connection through your business, your target audience, so to speak?
Thank you so much. With my two businesses, I have two types of audience. With Release Pain to Power, I would like to empower women to release their pain caused by hardship and trauma and coach them. Also go around the world, which I've already spoken before in India, and I'm planning to speak even more international and within the United States as well. So speaking to women, having retreats, having conferences with women to encourage them that they are, of course, not alone and they are survivors. Now, when it comes to Heavenly Connects, it's global. It's anyone, of course, who have lost a loved ones. That's my target audience for Heavenly Connects. When it comes to Heavenly Resources, I am reaching out to businesses, especially psychiatrists, life insurance agents, life coaches, funeral homes, cemeteries, so they can advertise in the app, and then that will give my subscribers some resources so they can take care of those type of services and have products to use when they're planning in maybe a funeral or they may want to see a therapist. And I personally, I'm very transparent. I live out loud, right, Mark? And I see a therapist every Tuesday. I believe in self care, self love. Like I just got a facial yesterday. You know, I work out. I also ride my bike. Self care and self love is everything for anyone, right? And I just had that big 60th birthday in October. So it's
Well,
really,
happy birthday.
thank you. It's really, really more important now. So that's what I would like to promote within people as well, taking care of their mental, their emotional, their physical, and their spiritual health.
That's awesome. And as we wrap up, I want to just segue into something a little bit lighter in the sense of I understand, again, we started the conversation by saying you worked at GM, and there's a lot of conversations about electric vehicles. And I understand, although you got the organization, you're driving the new Cadillac Lyric Electric Viva EV. All right, tell me about it. How do you like it?
I
Everybody's curious about they're curious about the EVs.
You know what? You know what, Mark? I really look at it this way. You know how when we transition from landline to cell phones to smartphones, it's no different. The technology, even with computers and cell phones, smartphones being very smart and they're microcomputers, right? And I always drove company cars when I was working with GM, of course. Well, when it was time to go, I purchased an electric vehicle. And listen, I love that Lear. I get so many compliments on the color. It is a fast vehicle, which I had to learn that. And I'm not a fast driver, but I had to learn the power of the vehicle. It is such a misconception, Mark, about infrastructure. Yes, there is need of more infrastructure, but I get free charging for the entire 2 years of my lease. Now, here it is. I just went to a new charging station on Northwestern Highway at the Chase Bank, and they have about 10 chargers there. Typically, I go downtown to the Renaissance by me living in, Southgate. So the experience for me being an electric vehicle owner has been wonderful. And I look forward to buying another one.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that because I think a lot of people just had awareness challenge and for people to get stories directly from you will be certainly beneficial. As we wrap up and back to your business, what is the website? Give us the website people can go to get more information for your business for Heavy Connects and the other Heavy resources.
Absolutely. Let me say one thing about this electric vehicle. I've driven my
Uh-oh.
electric vehicle to Maryland twice.
And how many times did you have to charge it?
I charged it. I could have just charged it twice, but I didn't
Mm,
want to take that chance. So I ended up stopping 3 times. And with my electric vehicle, it tells me where the charging stations are. It tells me when you should charge. And also, you have apps on your phone to map it out and tell you where the charging stations are.
that's awesome. All right, as we wrap up the website,
Yes, you can reach me at tracy.heavenlyconnects.com uh, and Tracy at releasepaintopower.com if you would like to email me with any questions or thoughts. But you can go to Heavenly Connect, excuse me, web.heavenlyconnects.com, web.heavenlyconnects.com, and you can read about Heavenly Connects and Heavenly Resources. And then also you can go on to releasepaintopower.com, releasepaintopower.com to find out more about my life coaching services.
Tracy, I think it's been a pleasure meeting you. I've enjoyed the conversation, getting to know a little bit more about you. Thank you very much for joining me in the conference room.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. For all of you, thank you for checking out this particular interview on in the conference with Mark Esley. I want you to go out and make it a great day, make it a great week, enjoy the weather. If it's warm or cold, whatever. Hey, just be thankful that we have some nice weather that we can get out to all those little cool. Go out, make it a great day, great week, and don't forget to subscribe and share this interview with all your friends and many others. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.